birthday. 135 years since the creation of the motorcycle. And we've come a long way, baby. As old as I am, I'm not that old, so I don't remember the first motorcycle. I do remember Freddie Spencer getting to ride a replica of the first motorcycle back in, I think, the late 1980s. But when you think about it, that was the beginning of the two-wheel experience. We've had a lot of cool bikes along the lines. Some fantastic Italian, German, British, American, and Japanese motorcycles, along with a lot of strange bikes. But you know what? I think I'll talk about my first ever motorcycle, since that's where it started for me. Way back in 1983. I know some of you are not that old. Honda came out with this 1983 Honda Interceptor 750. Saw it, fell in love, bought it. Never ridden a street bike in my life. So that's the bike that inspired me to ride, inspired me to get a motorcycle license. And then it ended up with me actually racing them. Surprisingly, never crashed it. Never really had a serious close call with it. I did manage to drop it once trying to put it in the garage. And that was my first experience with how expensive it can be to fix bodywork and what I thought were simple parts on motorcycles. I had it for about 3 years. Absolutely loved the V4 engine. Never had any experience with anything else. Never actually ever owned an inline 4 engine. At that time, never experienced the beauty of a V-twin. That would come later. Two strokes were strictly for dirt bikes as far as I was concerned. But I had a lot of fun. Did my first ever motorcycle road trip on it. I learned that riding a motorcycle in Northern Ontario in the spring was never a good thing. We got bugs. We got a hell of a lot of bugs. Had my first ever encounter in a bear on this bike. Same road trip. But I had a lot of fun, and eventually switched up to something a little more powerful, and sold the bike off to a friend of mine, and he had it for a bunch of years until he decided it was time to get out of the apartment and get himself a house. And all through that time, that Honda, although the Interceptors had a few known issues, he never had any real problem with it. And my only problem was they got recalled for a bolt for the handlebar bolt was apparently defective, and I got a flat tire. Other than that, I just put gas in it, had the oil changed, lubed the chain, and rode it. And to me, that's perfect for riding. So I never experienced the 60s and the 70s where the British motorcycles were powered by Lucas Prince of Darkness, or the Harley Davidsons that generally you drove one way, then you return back, going back the other way to find the bolts and other things that fell off your bikes. Now guys riding Harleys nowadays would say they're not like that, but in the 60s and 70s, yes they were. So because I had a lot of positive experience with that bike, I ended up buying another one and another one and several more before I ended up with, which is currently my dream bike, the 2004 Honda RC51. So happy birthday, motorcycles, and I hope we have many more together. Let me know what your first bike was and what your experiences were with it. And if you're a vlogger, do a video about it. DeathsStalker, signing off.